Right now, there's a server in Iceland that knows exactly where YouTube lives. Another one in Singapore knows where Netflix is. There are 13 root servers that hold the master directory for the entire internet. And when you type google.com, your computer asks all of them where to go. This happens 2 billion times per second. Here's what's actually happening in those 30 milliseconds. Okay, so imagine you're trying to call your friend, but you only know their name. You don't have their phone number. What do? You look them up in a phone book. DNS is literally just the phone book of the internet. When you type netflix.com, your computer doesn't actually know what that means. It needs a number, an IP address, something like 192.168.1.1. But here's the thing. There are over 300 million domain names on the internet. You can't store that phone book on your laptop. So where is it? It's not one phone book. It's a chain of librarians who each know a little bit. Think of it like this. You walk into a library and ask, "Where's the book about penguins?" The front desk librarian doesn't know every book, but she knows which floor has animal books. So she sends you to the second floor. That librarian knows which section has birds. She points you to aisle 12. That librarian finally hands you the penguin book. DNS works the exact same way. Your computer asks a chain of servers, and each one says, "I don't have the answer, but I know who does." So you type youtube.com and hit enter. First stop, your recursive resolver. This is usually run by your internet provider, like Comcast or Verizon. It's like that front desk librarian. Now here's the cool part. This resolver has a memory. If someone else already asked for youtube.com in the last few hours, it just remembers the answer and gives it to you instantly. That's called caching. But let's say it's a fresh request. The resolver goes, "All right, I don't know this one. Time to ask the big bosses." The resolver contacts one of those 13 root servers we mentioned. These are the most important computers on the internet. They don't know where youtube.com lives, but they know who handles all .com addresses. They're like the librarian who says, "Oh, you want a .com? Second floor." And they point you to the TLD server. TLD stands for top level domain. That's the .com, .org, .net part. Each one has its own server. There's a .com server, a .pizza server, even a .ninja server. I'm not kidding. Now your resolver contacts the .com TLD server. This server is massive. It handles every single .com address on the internet. There are over 160 million .com domains, and this server keeps track of all of them. But it doesn't store IP addresses. It stores something else. The name of each domain's authoritative name server. So when your resolver asks about youtube.com, the TLD server says, "Talk to ns1.google.com. They're in charge of that one." One more hop to go. Your resolver finally reaches YouTube's authoritative name server. Every website owner sets up their own. For YouTube, that's run by Google. For your personal blog, it might be run by GoDaddy or Cloudflare. This server has the actual IP address. It says youtube.com lives at 142.250.80.46. That's the number your browser needs. You might be wondering, why 13 root servers? Why not just one master server that knows everything? Because if that one server goes down, the entire internet dies. By spreading it across 13 servers in different countries, the system is basically indestructible. Even if half of them exploded tomorrow, the internet would keep working. And here's the kicker. There aren't actually 13 physical servers. Each of those 13 addresses is actually hundreds of servers using a trick called Anycast. When you ask for a root server, you get routed to the closest one. The one in Iceland might be 30 servers. Wild. Scene 9. The security problem. Target 49 seconds. But wait, there's a massive problem with this whole system. When your computer asks, "Where's YouTube.com?" it just trusts whatever answer it gets back. What if someone lies? What if a hacker intercepts that response and says, "Oh, YouTube.com, that's actually at this address," and sends you to a fake site that steals your password? This attack is called DNS spoofing, and it's terrifyingly easy. For decades, DNS had zero security. Anyone could poison the phone book. So how does the internet protect you now? That's where DNSSEC comes in. And that is a whole other rabbit hole we're going down next.